going, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Hawk Blogger Mornings. I am Brian Nemhauser. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all the places, Blue Sky, even at Hawk Blogger. And it's time. It's time. I've been talking about doing this show for weeks, months, even since the season ended. Feels like it's been a while. That there's a lot of folks out there that it's kind of good timing after the NFL honors last night and Jared Verse getting a lot of love and people feeling some kind of way about the Byron Murphy selection, that I talked to you about why I don't feel upset that the Seahawks drafted Byron Murphy. I'm going to talk to you about why I think Byron Murphy had a really good rookie year and why you should be as enthusiastic, if not more enthusiastic, about what he will become based off of what he's done as a rookie. So I'm going to go into it. I've got a lot of stuff to share with you. It should be fun to kind of go through this. Before I get into that, as always, I'd really appreciate it if you take a moment, give the show a like, click subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. It helps grow the channel and the community. And we've got a great community. So we're almost up to 15,000 subscribers on YouTube. Would love to get there. So make sure you click that subscribe button. And we will be together through this offseason. This is 319 straight days of Seahawks content, the only place where you can get fresh Seahawks content every single day, 365 days a year. Well, at least 319 straight days worth of it. So before I also get deep into the Byron Murphy stuff, just a quick comment on the NFL honors piece. I think there's a fair amount of news there if you didn't pay attention. You know, Josh Allen wins the MVP. Lamar Jackson does not. Mike Holmgren does not make the Hall of Fame. That's a real bummer from my perspective. And, you know, it's a shame because, one, I know it matters to him. I know it matters to his family. And two, it will probably be hard for him to get in for at least a while. You know, Bill Belichick will be eligible next year. The way that they've changed the rules makes it harder for Mike Holmgren to get in. And man, if there's not a guy that is iconic relative to football as Mike Holmgren is, I just don't know. I mean, like, this guy is the images of him on the sideline in Green Bay with the frozen mustache and the steam coming off of him and out of his mouth and the red cheeks and the getting flushed when he's screaming at Brett Favre, not to mention what he did in Seattle. I'm old enough to remember when the Packers were a pretty irrelevant team in the NFL through the 80s and honestly through a chunk of the 90s. And Mike Holmgren came in there and turned it around. So I just think not to mention, obviously, the coaches that he spawned. Andy Reid comes from there. John Gruden comes from there. There are so many coaches that have come out of the Mike Holmgren tree. And it's just a shame. It's a shame. It's a shame that he didn't make it. If this had been last year and the rules from last year, he would be in. But the fact that they've mixed in coaches and players, you're not guaranteed of getting a coach in. I just think it's a rough it's a rough loss for Mike Holmgren to not get in. As far as like the MVP and all that piece, I'll just say something quickly here. I don't really understand, and maybe I'll feel differently at some point and it'll come back to haunt me that I say this, but I don't understand people getting so irate about the results of some of these rewards. Lamar Jackson has won the MVP. He had a fantastic year. Josh Allen has not until now. He's been fantastic. There's been years you could really make the case he should have won, but he didn't. Like, does it need to be like a bloody war when one of them wins and one of them doesn't? I've seen people saying that Patrick Mahomes should win every year. And like, I don't know. I know it's legacy, and I guess that matters. I've seen Washington Commanders fans absolutely eviscerating or attempting to eviscerate Sam Monson for being the only person who did not vote for Jaden Daniels as Offensive Rookie of the Year. He voted for Brock Bowers. like Jane Daniels won. Like, so, and like the fact that there's somebody that didn't vote for him that's getting just absolutely, slammed online. I don't feel like these things are worthy of slamming people in either direction. So, you know, I get it. Some people get really worked up about this stuff. I don't. It's not like I guarantee you Josh Allen would trade his MVP award for playing in the game this week. And so, that's what I care about. But I guess my quick comment there is I feel like people really, really take this to an extreme. And especially if your guy won, just take the win, take the W, and move on. So, all right. With that in mind, let's talk about Byron Murphy. Let's talk about Byron Murphy. And first, let's talk about like raw numbers. These are the numbers that you are going to hear about when people talk about Byron Murphy. And they're going to be like, this is the 16th overall pick. He had 36 tackles on the year. He only had half a sack, no forced fumbles. He had some tackles for loss, but statistically, not great. Not great. Like, there's not a lot of counting stats to look at and say, man, that was a good year, especially in a year when you had Jared Verse, who was way up there in pressures. I think he was number 5 in the NFL among edge rushers in pressures. Then you have Braden Fisk, who had a ton of sacks as a rookie, right? Braden Fisk ends up with 8.5 sacks as a rookie. And he had a bunch of pressures. And so when you have that happening, and then you also have Jalen Carter, you're a year removed from Jalen Carter, who the Seahawks could have picked and did not. And Jalen Carter, won all sorts of accolades. You're going to get people feeling uncomfortable about the state of Byron Murphy. Now, what we're going to do today is I'm going to show you some tape of Byron Murphy during his rookie season, show you a few highlights that for me, these aren't really highlights. These are just a few of the plays that he made this year that I think stood out to me. I'm going to go over some numbers with you, some numbers that are pretty standard, and I'm going to go over them relative to how other rookie interior defensive tackles have done. I'm going to play some sound for you from Mike Macdonald about Byron Murphy. I am going to try to contextualize for you his performance as an interior defensive lineman as a rookie relative to other meaningful, good defensive linemen, interior defensive linemen throughout the last, 10 years. Okay. So we're going to do all of that. And let's start by actually sharing some of his plays and some of his moments that I think really stood out. And I'm going to do this by sharing a quick video or a few plays over here. So let me get that set up and we will play this for you guys. All right. So a couple things to note here. I'm going to share a few different plays, but Byron Murphy's 91. And one of the things to be aware of with Byron Murphy's numbers and his play this year is where he played. And you're going to hear about this from Mike Macdonald as well. But Byron Murphy, his snaps by position this year, he played a number of his snaps over the nose. Okay, so he played nose tackle a lot of this year, which is a little different than what someone like Braden Fisk did. It's a little different than what someone like Leonard Williams did. But I want you to look here. He's not playing directly over the nose here, but pay attention to his pursuit. Okay, so again, this is Byron Murphy here. These first few clips, I want to show just his pursuit. This is against the Jets. That's a 300-pound man. And I want you to pay attention to how quickly he is able to beat his man to the ball and beat the back to the edge. Here he is here. Similar moment against the Bears. This is a 300-pound man breaking down against a running back. Watch his feet there. That is not something you pursue and then you break down as a tackler. That's what a linebacker does, not a 300-pound defensive tackle. This play here. Okay. This is the play where we're just watching, but I want you to watch this next play against the Falcons. So here's Byron Murphy right here. His man over here got a little bit of a late start of the snap, but this is a zone run. Everybody's blocking down. All right. All these linemen are blocking down. Byron Murphy, watch what he does off the snap here. Again, 300+ pound guy. And who's responsible? This left tackle is responsible for getting into Byron Murphy. Neither one of them have moved yet. Actually, you could kind of see a hand movement here. So their left tackle has already started. Byron Murphy's still in his stance. Doesn't matter. Watch what happens here. Byron Murphy is by that guy in 2 steps. Right? 1, 2. He is by that guy. Now, he's chasing down the play from behind. This play. This is a play earlier in the season against the Patriots on the goal line. Watch what Byron does to this poor man. Folks, I've shown you speed. Now I want to show you power. This is a grown NFL lineman who is completely engaged with Byron Murphy. Watch him ragdoll this guy. Look at this poor guy down here. And just throws him to the ground. These are not plays made, and then he still comes back and still pulls the running back from the line. These are not plays made by mediocre athletes. These are not plays made by, guys with limited upside. Each of these plays I'm showing you are rare plays from an athlete of his size. Now, there, you're going to see again a guy beating a double team. He faced so many double teams this year. Watch him split the double team, come inside, make the play on the back. In this play here, Byron Murphy is right here. Middle, again, another goal line play. Beats his man in 2 steps. So what you're looking for in a first-year defensive tackle who is playing primarily nose is, are they making plays that are rare to see from a player of his size? And he did that. This is early in the season. This is the first game of the season against the Broncos. So that is just a few plays. There's many, many more that I can share with you from Byron Murphy's rookie season. But what you're looking for with any player is, do they flash? Do they flash? Do they show you the potential for why you drafted them? And I'm not here to say that Byron Murphy should have been honored at the NFL honors or that he had an outstanding rookie season. What I'm here to talk about is this notion that the Seahawks somehow missed with their first pick, that he is not that good. that there's some reason to be pessimistic about him. He's the most talented defensive tackle the Seahawks have drafted in a long, long time. His rookie season is outstanding relative to the defensive tackles the Seahawks have brought in for a long time. And so it's not just the film. Film, obviously you pick some things that are representative of how he played. If you look at how interior defensive linemen perform across their rookie seasons, it is one of the positions that generally takes 2 to 3 seasons for people to kind of grow into their full potential as an NFL player. And so I went back and I looked at a number of guys and their rookie year numbers. Jalen Carter, Vita Vea, Chris Jones, DeForest Buckner, Javon Hargrave, Grady Jarrett, Leonard Williams, Kalijah Cansey, Justin Madubuike, who is now Namda Madubuike, Christian Wilkins, Zach Allen, Quinnen Williams, Ed Oliver, Dexter Lawrence, Jeffrey Simmons, Kobe Turner, Ali McNeil, Christian Barmore, Eric Armstead. So that is 20 defensive tackles that have been drafted in the last 10 years. And I looked at their years. I looked at how many snaps they had. I looked at how many pass rush snaps they had. I looked at how many pressures that they had as rookies, what their pressure rate was, how many sacks did they have. I looked at their pass rush win rate. I looked at their true pass set win rate. And so when I did that, I'll tell you that I'm going to tell you some averages to start out with, okay? So we'll just talk about averages to start out. On average of those guys, they had 61% of their snaps were pass rush snaps. Byron Murphy only had 244 pass rush snaps last year. That was 53% of his snaps. And as an example, as a comparison, Braden Fisk, had double that. He had 433 pass rush snaps. So you're going to have more pressures in that situation. Now, the average is 31 pressures for all those defensive linemen that I mentioned as rookies. Byron only had 21, but he did have significantly fewer pass rush snaps. His pressure rate was 8.6%. And the average for all those elite interior defensive linemen I mentioned as rookies was 9.4. He's below it, but he's got a higher pressure rate than Quinnen Williams, Zach Allen, Justin Madubuike, Grady Jarrett, Javon Hargrave, Jeffrey Simmons, Ali McNeil, like Ed Oliver. He had a higher pressure rate than a lot of very good defensive linemen as rookies. So he's kind of like in line so far. If you look at his pass rush win rate, okay, and this is just his overall pass rush win rate, is 10%. The average pass rush win rate for all those defensive tackles was 9.5%. And let me give you like a visual of cue of like what that looks like. All right. So let me put this up on the screen here and you guys can look at this. This is a little bit of a eye chart. But this is Byron Murphy right here. This is Byron Murphy right here. And what this is on one axis is pass rush win rate. And this is true pass set pass rush win rate. And on this axis is run stop win rate. Okay? And what you have here is Byron Murphy is basically behind Milton Williams, Chris Jones, and right around DeForest Buckner. Okay? So that's where Byron Murphy stands in this quadrant. Now you got Calais Campbell way up here with run stop win rate. That is outstanding. Cam Hayward up here. You've got Leonard Williams, Jeffrey Simmons, DeForest Buckner. Like, you got a really good crew right here. Vita Vea is right here. And Byron Murphy is right here as a rookie. Okay? That's not where bad players live. That's not where people that you have to worry about, like, is this guy talented? That's not where they live. And so if I actually were to show you a little bit more here, and let me go ahead and pull this over to where we can see it together. Byron Murphy ends up in pretty rare company when you're talking about top rookie interior defensive linemen when it comes to pass rush win rate. So this is a look at, of all those guys that I mentioned, who had the top true pass set win rate among all interior defensive linemen. This includes Vita Vea. This includes Chris Jones, Jalen Carter, DeForest Buckner, Grady Jarrett, Leonard Williams, Kalijah Cansey, Matabuike, Ed Oliver, Dexter Lawrence. They're all in there. And this is the top 5 of all of those guys as rookies. Jalen Carter stands alone at number 1, 25%. And I know that's still painful for some. But number 2 on that list is Byron Murphy at 20.3%. Then Christian Barmore at 19.3%. Then Eric Armstead at 18.3%. And then Vita Vea at 17.3%. And why does this matter? Like, why does this matter so much? Because I want to play some sound for you really quickly from Mike Macdonald about Byron Murphy. And he was asked, like, well, why was his production not higher as a rookie? And let me play for you what he said. All right. Gonna have to share a different screen, so hold on 1 second. But I'm hoping that this, for some folks, is clarifying at least. Like, to give you some things to see that might not have been as obvious as what you're going to see or hear from the average analysis of his rookie season. So here is Mike Macdonald when asked, why didn't he have more numbers this year? How do you evaluate his rookie season? This is what Mike Macdonald said.
Well, I mean, we're evaluating everything all the time. So I'm watching this guy do what he does at practice every day, every pass rush rep. AD, those guys are doing the same thing, and he does this stuff at a high level. He plays really hard. He's a great technician for being how young he is. Just tough as nails going out there and playing the last game. Not 100% and working through it. Production-wise, like, I know the sacks aren't there in the pass rush reps, but like, every time this guy's taking a 3 technique pass rush rep, that means Leonard Williams isn't on the field. And right now, I think Leonard's probably the best, interior D lineman in the game. So it's like, what do you want to do? So we have to be more creative to get him on the field, but he'll earn those opportunities, and the production will be there in the long run. I'm convinced of that. This guy's a really good player.
Did you sense any, like, reaching there from Mike Macdonald? Was he having to, like, really come up with reasons why? I mean, he gave you the reason. He gave you a pretty clear reason why. When you look at what the Seahawks have on the defensive line, Leonard Williams took a lot of those reps at 3-tech. And the thing that he didn't mention that I've been talking about this offseason is that it's not just Leonard Williams. Um, Jaron Reed had 679 snaps last year. He had 397 pass rush snaps. That is a lot more than the 240 that Byron Murphy had. And I thought Jaron Reed had a very good year. This is nothing against Jaron Reed. But given the opportunity, I think the Seahawks need to give those snaps. If you're talking about, for what it's worth, Leonard Williams had 473. Jaron Reed had 397. Byron Murphy had 240. I mean, heck, Jonathan Hankins had 166. Like, why does Jonathan Hankins have 166 pass rush snaps? But in any event, there are snaps to be had for Byron Murphy to increase the number that he's out there on the field. And when he is out there, what did I just show you? 20.3% win rate. And you might say, well, but that's, maybe that's a small sample. Well, if you believe that, let me show you something else. All right. This is the list of players. I'll go full size so you can have a better chance to see it, who have had the highest pass rush win rate in the Power 5 among interior defensive linemen in each of the last 6 years, 7 years since 2018. Byron Murphy, 19.6% last year. Other guys on this list: Kalijah Cansey the year before, 19.6. Jalen Carter the year before that, 17.7. Christian Barmore the year before that, 16.9. Quinnen Williams in 2018, 17.6. Pretty much everybody on this list. There's another list I can show you that's the guys that are interior defensive linemen that have had win rates over 12% over their college careers. There's not a lot of them. Christian Barmore is one of them. Byron Murphy is one of them. I'll just take a moment to highlight Mr. Omar Norman Lott, who had the highest one for 2024 at 18.8. No surprise, he's one of my favorites in this class. But that's a different story for a different show. All of this to say, Byron Murphy also was 21 when he got drafted. 21. So he is going to be going, like, Braden Fisk is like 30 already. I mean, that guy's Jared Verse as well. Multiple years older than Byron Murphy. Byron Murphy is going to add weight. He's going to add strength. I talked to him multiple times during the season. He's already knows that he was going to spend this offseason working on more pass rush moves. And I think that this is a chance for him to make a massive leap in his second season and beyond. And one of the things to also make clear is that if you look at these players that I mentioned, I mean, the amount of growth you get from some of these guys is crazy. Justin Madubuike, over his first 3 years and how he grew as a player. Zach Allen was a 51 graded player as a rookie, had a 5.7% win rate. You saw what kind of massive, like, monster he was this year. Ed Oliver was, had a 12% win rate as a rookie. Dexter Lawrence, 10%. Like, he was defensive player of the year. So I think the point I'm trying to make, and hopefully it's starting to set in, is if anyone comes to you and says Byron Murphy had a disappointing rookie year, he had a bad rookie year, I think it's a debatable conversation to be had, because I don't know that he was put in any situation to have a serious high counting stat kind of rookie year. He was asked to play a lot on the nose. He was not allowed or offered to rush the passer very often. And when he did it, and he did it well. So I think you got to really think a little bit more critically about what it means to be a great interior defensive lineman. And I'm not betting against Byron Murphy over the next 3 years. I'm not. If you are, good luck to you, because I don't think the odds are in your favor. I think that what we saw from Byron Murphy as a rookie was right in line with what you want to see from a player like him, who's going to be a factor in the run game and the pass game. And I think it's now on the Seahawks to actually give him more opportunity to showcase his talents. And the other thing I want to bring up here is this is really right on script for Byron Murphy. In high school, he started out as a running back and then a linebacker, and then was a lightly recruited player as a defensive lineman. It took till really his senior year for that to show up. In college, he was a 1-year starter. Like, he didn't start until his junior year. His first year, he had 2 sacks, 3.5 tackles for loss. By his senior season, he was up to 5 sacks and 8.5 tackles for loss. He's always going to be a guy that struggles a little bit to make the final tackle because he's got short arms. Like, that's part of his package. But if you look at, let me pull up because I'm curious myself, his number of pressures and how that grew from his first year to his final year in college. Let's see. I haven't done this yet, so maybe I'm going to find out I'm way off, but I don't think I'm going to be. He had 11 pressures as a freshman, and then he had 19, and then he had 36 as a senior. So I think we're going to see that kind of trajectory again. He did it in high school. He did it in college. I think he's going to do it again in the pros, where people are going to look back at his rookie season and be like, man, there were glimpses. If you really were paying attention, there were glimpses, but I had no idea he was going to be this kind of player. There's going to be people that feel that way. I'm not going to be one of them, because I saw plenty of what I needed to see from a guy that's still built like a running back, moves like a running back, but is over 300 pounds and is strong like an ox. He's going to be fine. He's going to be just fine. So with that, let me thank Bryce Coots for his gift of 10 Hawk Blogger memberships. Really appreciate it, Bryce. Great to see. And I know that everybody is hopefully getting a chance to take advantage of these free memberships. The best way to get a free membership is to watch the show, like, subscribe, engage, participate in chat, add comments. All those things are considered by the YouTube algorithm to then determine who's most deserving to get one of these free memberships. And Bryce has been so generous in giving them out. So there's a lot available. All you got to do is be part of the show, and you hopefully will be part of the crew as well. So I think the next thing that has to happen for Byron Murphy to take this next step, I think that they've really got to draft or add a nose tackle that they can play there on a regular basis. And I'm increasingly convinced that they need to let Jarran Reed move on. I really like Jarran Reed. He's a huge leader in that group. He played really well for this team. He was he played well. But I think that money, and more importantly, I think those snaps need to go to Byron Murphy. I think you cannot block Byron Murphy from getting the snaps that he needs to get to give you his full potential. And then I think you also draft or add a quality nose tackle who can take those reps and free Byron Murphy up to sometimes play next to him as a 3-tech. And I think there's going to be potentially times that Leonard Williams plays out at 5. And he played on the edge this year and won pretty well when he was asked to play outside the tackle. He dominated some of the left tackles in this league, and I think he can do that again if they want to use him that way. But you've got a weapon here, and I think the Seahawks have to have to find a better way to take advantage of that. All right, so you guys want me to do a mock draft? We ready? We want to do a mock draft before we wrap up today. Generally, I think people are always in favor of one. But let me pull one up, and if you're not interested, I guess you can always just bounce. But let's do this. Let's do the mock draft database today. And let's do a full 7-round. We're into 7-round territory at this point. And I will share my screen so you guys can see what I am seeing. All right. So I'm gonna put this up there. Actually, I'll make it bigger for you. And here we go. We're gonna go from 18, and we'll keep interior defensive line in mind. Why not? Here we go at pick. Look at this trade from the Steelers. No, thank you. Here we are at pick 18. I actually thought for my surprising picks or my strange picks series that I did before that I should have done one where we pick a running back. We pick Ginty. That would be a strange pick, but I'm not going to do it. You've got Malachi Starks available. You got Luther Burden, who increasingly Luther Burden is becoming available in these situations. And Josh Simmons is there, who Rob Rang mocked to the Seahawks. Colston Loveland, the tight end. Tyler Booker is there. Armand Membu is there. And I'm telling you right now, if Armand Membu is sitting there, I'm not waiting. I'm adding Armand Membu. So I'm going to do what was suggested here by Kane Muss. He says, ooh, do this one as a way of maximizing Byron Murphy. You got it. Let's do it, Kane. So first things first, one of the ways to maximize your defensive linemen is to keep them fresh. One of the best ways to do that is to keep your offense on the field. And I don't know how Armand Membu is behind Tyler Booker. I know that I'm lower on Tyler Booker than most, but Armand Membu is a legit tackle prospect who can play guard. Booker is purely a guard. For me, this is an easy one. We're drafting Armand Membu, and we're thrilled about it. So then we get into round 2. And round 2, we're at pick 50. And again, the goal here is to maximize Byron Murphy. Well, guess what? If Gray Zabel's there, I'm taking him in the 2nd round. And for what it's worth, I think that's another way to maximize him. Let's take a look at interior defensive line just to see who's left right now. And it's getting a little thinner, but I think like they've got Jamari Caldwell, who's going to be available forever, at least based off of their assessment. Shamar Turner's also there, who played with Byron Murphy, by the way, at DeSoto. Interesting player to keep an eye on. And Jordan Phillips is also a really interesting player as well. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Gray Zabel here. There's a chance he could be available, but I mean, this is a absolute massive win in the first 2 picks, and I'm not going to say no to it. So here we are at the 3rd pick, and this is where, I mean, Omar Norman Lott's available. So this is the question, guys. You could go Omar Norman Lott, or you could go Shamar Turner. And for my money, like Omar Norman Lott's just a really good player, and I'd kind of love to see him play next to Byron Murphy. He is just a game wrecker. The thing is he is not a nose tackle. He's not a nose tackle, but I just love him enough that I'm going to go ahead and take him here. We're going to take another nose tackle later. This is going to be a trenches draft. Okay. So Omar Norman Lott is your 3rd pick. If you get him in the 3rd round, you are loving life. All right. So here we are looking at pick number 4, the 4th round. There just went David Walker. You know how I feel about him. And here we go. Savion Jones, an edge player who's very interesting, is available. That could help. But I'm certainly thinking right now about defensive line, interior defensive. CJ West is there. Jamari Caldwell is still there. At this point, I'm taking Jamari Caldwell. I love what he can look like in the middle of that line. They don't like that pick. I don't care. I'm a big fan. And so we have gone offensive line, defensive line. Here we are at pick 173. Ooh, this is a tough one, folks. Kobe Bryant, the corner, or Jeffrey Bassa, the linebacker. That's a really good one. Ooh, we haven't taken Kobe Bryant yet. And I kind of love that pick. I mean, Jeffrey Bassa is probably they're 136 and 137 on their list. And these guys, I think there's a really good players. Miles Frazier's still available. Are you kidding me? That's crazy. I could take another. Let's do this. I think you gotta take. We've taken a lot of Jeffrey Bassa. Let's just do it. I really like him as a player. I think he's a really high upside guy, so I got to take him there. Now here we are at pick 187. Interestingly, we could still take CJ West, who is a solid interior defensive lineman, good run stuffer. You've got Upton Stout here, who I really like at corner. He's a little bit short, but I really like him at corner. Scrolling through this list, Luke Lachey is a nice blocking tight end. I like Jabbar Muhammad. I am way higher on Jabbar Muhammad than a lot of people. If he's available later, I might do that. But you know what? Here's what we're gonna do. I saw Kyle McCord is still available. If he's available here in the 6th round, we're taking Kyle McCord. That is an easy choice. All right, here we are, still in the 6th round, and Oluwafemi Oladejo is available. Done. There's your edge. Easy. This is like the best draft in the history of drafts, if this is how this falls. And then look, we could either take Luke Lachey, a blocking tight end, or Jabbar Muhammad. I honestly like Lachey makes the most sense. So let's go ahead and do it. Stick with the tough blocking stuff. I really like Jabbar Muhammad, but I can't take 3 ducks. That's a little too crazy. So there we go. I got to tell you, if this was the draft class, oh my God. I mean, Armand Membu, Gray Zabel, both 2 of the best offensive linemen in this class. Then Omar Norman Lott, who I just told you had the highest pass rush win rate of any interior defensive lineman in FBS in Power 5 this year. Jamari Caldwell, who they didn't like. That was the only one that they didn't like. I've shown you some highlights of Jamari Caldwell at the Senior Bowl, and that guy is impressive. In fact, I don't think I have. I'm going to pull up and show you guys a couple Jamari Caldwell highlights in 1v1s so you know what I saw. So I wanted you to see what I saw. Then Jeffrey Bassa at linebacker, then Kyle McCord at quarterback, Oluwafemi Oladejo at edge, Luke Lachey at tight end. Oh my God. Please let this be our draft. I would be absolutely over the moon. So let me do this. I'm going to pull open my Senior Bowl highlights. And by the way, if you are a YouTube member of a certain level, you can get these on members only videos whenever you want. So I'm going to go ahead and share this with you guys. Let me put this up on the screen. All right. So these are, do you like my fancy title work I did here? Well, you can't really see it there. Look at the fancy title work I did here. That's just amazing. Give myself credit. All right. I'm going to scroll through and find, oh wait, I think this is a Jamari Caldwell rep right away. And let me mute this. You can't see it, but actually, hold on. Let me share a little bit differently so I can highlight some things for you. Let me share the entire screen, and we'll do this, and we'll do that, and we'll make this full screen. Let's bring this bad boy back up here. All right. So, you see this helmet right here? That little silver helmet? That is Jamari Caldwell. All right? Watch this guy move. This is at 340 pounds. That is a big man. And the way he moves in the middle, look at that. That is him being Wyatt Millum, by the way, in case you're wondering who he was going up against. Let me find the next rep I can for Jamari Caldwell. I'm going to scrub through here. Let's scrub. Get to the next Jamari Caldwell rep. Ooh, I think I just missed it. Here comes Jamari Caldwell. Right here. Right? I think, oh yeah, look at that. So this is one where he gets a little bit, he was so aggressive in trying to fire off the ball that he gets a little out over and falls. But I don't care. This is a 350-pound man. And look at the way that he fires off the line. Tell me that that is not going to be disruptive in the NFL. Let me see. I think there's another Jamari snap here somewhere. Let's see. Are we ready for Jamari yet? So no, this is I can't remember who that was. That wasn't Ezeraku. I keep going. All right. That's Jonah Monheim, by the way. Blocking. I'll give you a little Jonah Monheim right here. So this is Jonah Monheim, number 70. Watch this rep from him. This is not against Caldwell, but he's another guy that I liked. He's a solid blocker. He's a tough guy. I like Jonah Monheim. I would not hate it if the Seahawks decide to go there. All right, here comes Jamari. Look at okay, look at that. Look at the guy. He literally put him on skates. Look at him put that guy on skates. All right, I got to do this again. Let me see if I can I slow this down? Playback speed. Sweet. All right, we're going to do this at half speed. I want you to watch the feet of the offensive lineman. Watch his feet and watch them slide, okay? Watch his feet. He is sliding. He is sliding. That is what you call putting a guy on skates. So, yeah, I'm a Jamari Caldwell guy. They gave me a D for drafting him. I don't think it's going to be a D if you get him. So, anyway, all this to say, I think Byron Murphy had a very good rookie season and right on schedule. Do I wish that he had more flash plays? Sure. Does he wish he had more flash plays? You bet. But I think that in a lot of ways it sets him up to really work his ass off this offseason to come back and have the next year that I think will be a breakout for him. So Appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you haven't already given the show a like and subscribe, please do. I'd greatly appreciate it. We got a couple super chats here. Mr. Miner 49er says, tell Mike Sando I said thanks for the Leonard Williams Defensive Player of the Year vote. I will. And if you're wondering why we didn't do Mike Sando's Friday show, he's down at the Super Bowl. We actually had our Pro Football Writers Association annual meeting at 8 a.m. today. So I was there with him. And then we'll be back with Sando next week. I think we're going to do Tuesday, most likely. So I will let him know you appreciated his vote. And then Wally World, who's been a member for 2 months, says, I listen to you every day at work. Appreciate you. Man, well, that's kind of why I did this. There's so many years I would drive into work this time of year, and they were talking about the Mariners, or they're talking about the Huskies or the Cougs, or they're talking about college basketball or a million other things. And frankly, like, I'm a Mariners fan, but the last thing I want to talk about right now is the Mariners. I just wanted something every morning for people, whether they're working out or driving in or just hanging out. Talk about the Seahawks every single day, and you don't have to worry about it. It's going to happen every day. And that's what's going to happen here. So appreciate you guys supporting the show. I just started doing my taxes yesterday. Yikes. Being an entrepreneur, not fun going through every individual receipt. I don't recommend it. I got to do better with receipt management next year, but I do want to thank all of you for making it possible for us. We donated over, $24,000 to charity this year. Hit like 8 million views plus in the year. So really, really appreciate all the support. And I will be back with you tomorrow, hopefully with Real Jeff Simmons for Seahawks Saturday. But until then, have a great rest of your Friday. I'm Brian Nemhauser, and this has been episode 319 of Hawk Blogger Mornings. Take care.